how have you been growing your ability to think, Justin?
Well, I would say this is an awesome question. I think that as I've gotten better at thinking, I've realized that I'm not good at thinking. Maybe is the way I would say it. So like, I live in an echo chamber professionally, where I'm consistently put in a room where I'm expected to or supposed to be an expert, right? It's like the guy that knows the most in the room about whatever we're talking about. And the more people that EMA has hired, the more I've learned that I don't know everything. And I know that, but like I'm reminded, maybe is the right term, that I don't know everything. But from a personal standpoint, you know, you have to look at what matters most to you. And that level of thinking, that to me, that has been something I've enjoyed reading a bit about, like being more present, being more aware of my weaknesses, being more of what do people see when they look at you? And that level of thought is something that's really hard to do when you're trying to accomplish things, right? Like I'm goal oriented. I'm like, you know, get the hammer out and the pickaxe and dig the hole, and I don't care what anybody thinks, get out of my way. And that works. I mean, look, at being a bulldozer is super effective when you need to move stuff. And I don't regret having that trait, I think, in my personality, but holy cow, when you take a step back holistically and look at like who you are as a whole person, I've run over a lot of people I didn't need to run over, and I think it's done, you know, I wouldn't say damage, but it's stuff that maybe I could have done better. And so to me, thinking is let's look at the landscape of, you know, you want to go here, and to get there, you don't just go here to here. I mean, there's, you know, all these pathways between here and there, and you need to look at the path rather than the destination and the starting point. And you know, again, you know, I try to be honest about it. You know, I'm really bad at that stuff, but I'm at least I'm aware of it, and I want to get better at it. But man, I get so fascinated by stuff that I'm not good at, because it's like, I figure all this other stuff out. I can figure this out, and if I get good at thinking, I think that, you know, I'll be a really unstoppable person personally, as much as I think I can be professionally. And, you know, professionally, again, it's just solving problems and answers and stuff that I think I do on a day-to-day basis. Personally, holy cow, that's a whole can of worms with how to be a good dad and be a good husband and support people and be there and not, you know, still travel. And if I ever figure that out, man, I'll be a Superman. I'm hoping someday I'll figure that out.
So teach us your way of expanding your ability to think so that we can share back to our audience, please.
People, social creatures, and that's important. We evolved from sitting around campfires after hunting all day and trying to survive all day. But we talked. When we sat around those campfires, we talked. And we told each other of what our experiences of the day were. We shared with each other the good hunting grounds, the good gathering grounds, where the dangers were. That is still true today. When we sit around a meal, or we sit around in a circle and we talk to each other, and we share our experiences, we're learning. We're learning from each other. Sometimes it's about learning what I don't like. If I don't know where I want to be, it's about learning where I don't want to be. If I don't know what I want to do, it's about learning what I don't want to do. There's the key, I think, to improving the way I think is listening to other people. It's about learning.
Beautiful.
Just simple learning.
How could you be curious a little longer like this?
I think you're right. I think a lot of people don't allow themselves to be as curious as they potentially could be. And curiosity is really a superpower. So how can people be more curious? I think it's about observing, and I think it's about caring. So just being quiet and still and seeing what's going on, and also giving yourself permission to ask questions and to really listen to the responses you get. I would challenge people to think about how they've learned, how they've grown, and I bet in doing that, people will see that being curious is what's really helped them do that. And so those would be the ways that I would signify, or at least specify, building curiosity and maintaining curiosity.
Beautiful. So how have you been growing your ability to think over the years?
When Randy and I were starting the Entertainment Technology Center, before we had students, we would fly out to California and meet with the heads of all these companies that we knew that our students would want to work for. And so we went out and we met with Pixar. Now this is Pixar right after they made Toy Story. Okay, so they were still the little company that could in San Rafael, California, in Marin County. And Randy and I were like taking bets because we were going to ask them being John Lasseter, the Chief Creative Officer of Pixar, and Ed Catmull, the Chief Technology Officer, if there is only one class that they would want every Pixar employee to have taken, what would that be? And so in the hotel, Randy and I are like, oh, they're going to want C++ programming. No, they're going to want C# programming. No, they're going to want this. We go meet in the meeting, we ask that question, and Ed Catmull, the Chief Technology Officer, says, improvisational acting. And I'm like, huh? Because I had suggested improvisational acting back in Pittsburgh before the trip, because I viewed it as the only living example of non-linear storytelling, which is what it is, because you don't know what's going to happen, but you've got to be on your toes for when the ideas come, when the actor says something. And I said to Ed Catmull, wow, why do you say that? And he says, because it's the best team building exercise. It's team building because in improvisational acting, it only works if your response to everything is yes and. Yes and. So I might start off saying, okay, it's a domestic story, and we're all in the kitchen, and I'm going to be mother, and you're going to be the father, and then all of a sudden the father says, well, I've got something to be honest with you. I'm actually an alien from outer space. You don't sit there going, well, that's stupid. That's stupid. Instead, you've got to go, okay, didn't see that coming. All right, let me build upon that. And so I've always made it a point to willfully engage in something I don't know, but which is popular among a particular demographic, like young people. Esports was that, okay? Esports. I didn't know what the hell esports was until, like in Korea, they have what are called PC bong, and bong is Korean word meaning room, so PC room, and you go in there and they're playing video games. It's like, okay, all right. But it was from there that they started to do esports. And it was like, wow, what is this thing? It's called esports. And I started to hang out with them, knowing that I don't play those games. My fingers ain't going to do what you can do. But clearly you're fascinated by this. Clearly you're immersed in this. So why? What's the appeal? And that's how I learn. I listen to them. I ask questions. And the funny thing is, I'm now considered an expert on the esports industry. I don't play the games, but I can tell you where the money is. I can tell you what are the up-and-coming games. I can tell you what the teams are. I can tell you the best tournaments and all that. So, and all of that is by approaching people that know more than I do, saying, teach me or let me learn from you.
Oh,